Balancing an achievement and trophy list is possibly one of the most trickiest but important tasks when it comes to creating what we class the perfect achievement lists. We're at Codemasters once again to ask the important questions. Are multiplayer achievements and trophies a necessary evil? How many achievements and trophies should we put aside for the single player? How long should it take to complete? How easy should it be? How hard should it be? How many achievements and trophies should be set aside for the more creative elements? I mean, we find that and more out from the Codemasters racing team on our journey to try and create the perfect Grid 2 achievement and trophy list. Balancing an achievement and trophy list is possibly like the hardest thing to do. I mean, it's single player versus multiplayer and all that. I mean, let's take them one at a time. What kind of balance would you have in single player versus multiplayer?
I think I'd probably weight them towards the single player. I mean, despite the internet being available to the vast majority of players, there are still the players out there who don't have access to it, and I think it would be unfair to prevent them getting a decent proportion of the achievements and trophies by putting too many in multiplayer. And also, I think people can take more time over their single player game to really explore different events they wouldn't have tried, or in other types of games, explore areas of level they wouldn't have tried. So yeah, I'd lean towards the single player, definitely.
I mean, my personal opinion is, I'm more interested in playing the multiplayer side of things. That's the side of the game which I would play more often. So, I mean, I would rather have more in the multiplayer, but that's just because I play that bit more often. And I'm less personally interested in going through the career mode. So, but we need to cater for everyone really. So, yeah, it needs to be quite a spread balance between the two.
I think because in Grid 2 the multiplayer experience is sort of singular and unique in its own right, we have a system there which pulls a player through. It's rewarding in its own way in terms of like what you attain and what you achieve, and the goals that you then, like the dynamic goals that are being set are enough to sort of pull you through that experience anyway. So I would tend to say that you've got to get a good balance. You've got to do things to pull players who generally tend toward one thing into the other, and vice versa. But I think maybe with Grid 2 I would tend more towards the sort of single player experience, or things that can be done in sort of generic scenarios as opposed to something that's very much unique to one or the other. So yeah, I mean, I think multiplayer is as important as single player, but obviously we've aimed to get very specific things into that multiplayer experience to give you breadcrumbs to pull you through.
How many hours should it take the average person to complete the list?
To complete the list?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
thousands? 5, 10, 20?
I mean, I think these days when people buy a game, they expect to get 30 hours gameplay out of it, and I think if you've got your achievements and trophies balanced across that length of time, you can't go too far wrong.
I tend to play a game in single player form and finish it in sort of, maybe if it's 8 or 12 hours, I'll finish that. And then if I'm really into the game, if it has a multiplayer experience, I'll play that as well. And then I think if the achievements are there, they'll maybe keep me hooked in that. So I'll attempt to achieve all of them. I guess it just depends how long you intend to spend in the game after that. When people's time is at a premium, it's sort of something that I think people should probably achieve in a sort of short. I would tend towards the shorter side, so maybe 20 hours thereabouts. I don't know. It is a very difficult thing to gauge. Maybe the bulk of them should be achievable within a quick period of time, within that sort of 10 hours that you spend in the sort of single player experience, and then the more difficult ones, the sort of maybe the last 20% of them should be something that you really have to sort of go out of your way to achieve, and it depends on your own skill, really, how quickly you manage to do that.
How hard should it be?
I think there should be a couple in there that are real tricky and are the mark of a dedicated and good player to get them. I mean, obviously, difficulty balancing is something we have to do in the game anyway, and so we'd kind of make them relevant to that. But no, I don't think a player should put in 20 hours and still have nothing to show for their troubles. So yeah, as broad a spread as possible.
I mean, most games that I play do have achievements in that I'm never going to achieve, because I'm not the sort of person that's going to go and, you know, play it to its death just to get those last few. And so, you know, I think it's fine to have a few of those just to keep the hardcore really interested. But I would like the kind of list where most of them can be got in a reasonable amount of time by the average player.
I think that goes back to the point of just keeping the player hooked and keeping their investment in it. So if they were all really, really difficult and nobody could do any of them, then there wouldn't really be that much point. Or if only a certain percentage of players were really good enough to do that, then we'd be alienating a lot of people quickly. So you've just got to get a balance of easy ones, which you'll be able to sort of pick up in the first couple of hours as you play, and then once you get used to achieving those, then we slowly make you work a little bit harder for them. So probably a weighting towards sort of like the easy side, and then sort of drip feed over the sort of the tail, I guess.
So in terms of progression versus creative achievements, I mean, you obviously have to have the progression achievements to get people like breadcrumbs. What balance do you kind of do there? Would you do?
I mean, I think half and half is probably a fair mix there. As you say, people want to be breadcrumbed through, but then we've all got moments in our gaming memory where you've done something remarkable and been rewarded for it. And I think those kind of rewards are spoken about a bit more on your forums and website. You know, people are interested by the exciting things, and I think there's real value in those. So yeah, I'd be happy to give them a half and half weighting.
You want the progression achievements to pull players through the game and to encourage them to try areas which perhaps they wouldn't try otherwise. But at the same time, thinking about outside the box and being creative is really important. It feeds into everything that we do.
I think you'll agree there's a lot of food for thought there, a lot to take in, a lot to absorb. Turns out there are no easy answers and no shortcuts, but we feel we have enough information now to assist us in making the best list we can. That's all well and good though, but hold on a minute. We have no idea where to start, what the usual process is. So join us next week as we speak to the Grid 2 development team about how they usually go about creating an achievement and trophy list.